What's going on, guys? In this video we're going to cover alkyl groups, and alkyl groups are groups of carbons bonded to the longest carbon chain that aren't accounted for within the parent name. So let's just jump into an example. So here we can number one of two ways to identify the longest carbon chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or we can number down below 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, obviously up top it's the longest carbon chain, so we're going to erase the bottom numbering. So 7 carbons, our parent name for this compound is going to be hep. And then, since there's only single bonds between the carbons, we're dealing with alkanes, so the suffix is heptane. But what about that carbon right there? Well, let's isolate that out. This is known as an alkyl group. And they're named pretty similarly to the way that we named the longest carbon chain, in that it's still dependent on the amount of carbons. So we have 1 carbon here, so the parent name is meth. What about the suffix? Well, it's an alkyl group, so we're going to use -yl as our suffix. Now, we also need to identify a location for this methyl group, and it's bonded to the 3rd carbon of heptane, so that's going to be associated with 3. And one more thing that I didn't go over when numbering this structure is you want to number your carbons so that the lowest possible number can be on your methyl group or your alkyl groups. So you wouldn't number it this way because your methyl group would be associated with a 5 instead of a 3. So always give your alkyl groups and any functional groups the lowest possible number. So now all we have to do is combine all this information. And you do that by drawing the number 3 with a dash, methyl, and then all you do is slap heptane, or the longest carbon chain, onto the back of it, like it's one word. So 3-methylheptane describes this bond line structure. Let's go on to a different example where you have to apply a couple different skills. And that's where we're dealing with multiple alkyl groups. So let's say we have this compound. Alright. So we have an alkyl group here, an alkyl group here, and it's clear that our longest carbon chain will be straight across. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. And it's all single bonds. The parent name is hex, since there's 6 carbons, so we're going to have hexane as our longest carbon chain. Now we have to identify the alkyl groups. Well, here we have 2 carbons. Here we have 1 carbon. This one, parent name is F, and we'll slap the YL on there to identify it as an alkyl group. And it's bonded to the 3rd carbon. On this one, we have a methyl group, and it's bonded to the 4th carbon. Well, now we have 2 different alkyl groups. So which one do we put first when we combine all of our information? Well, you alphabetize. You don't place them in the order of the number that they're assigned to. You alphabetize them. So ethyl, E is before M, so we're going to do 3-ethyl 4 4-methyl, and then just put hexane on the end. 3-ethyl 4-methyl hexane. So the naming can get pretty long, but once you get the gist of it down, it gets pretty easy. Let's do another example. Let's do this example. And here, when we're identifying the longest carbon chain, it'll be obviously 4. And you could have made this one 4, this one 4, it doesn't matter. So our parent name is going to be butane. And here we have a methyl group, here we have a methyl group. So we have a 2-methyl and a 3-methyl. Well, how do we know which one to put first? It doesn't matter. What you do when you have identical groups, methyl-methyl, you look at the location, you have a 2, 3, you put a comma in between the locations, and then you put a di in between or before the methyl. So you do di-methyl. And then all you have to do is slap the butane at the bottom. And that's the name for this compound. 2,3-dimethylbutane. Alright, let's do one more example combining everything we just learned. Let's do it with this guy. Alright. Here the longest carbon chain is a little less obvious because you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to roll with this, numbering our carbons so our alkyl groups have the lowest possible number instead of numbering this way. And now we have 3 alkyl groups to deal with. On 4, we have a 1, 2, 3, 3-carboned alkyl group. So 4 is going to be associated with a propyl. On 2, we have 2 methyls. Well, we know what to do there. We're going to do the number twice, and then we're going to do dimethyl. And now we have to just alphabetize. Oh, sorry. Our parent name for the longest carbon chain is octane. When you alphabetize with a di, you still look at the M. So do your little ABC song, L, M, N, O, P. M is before P. So we're going to draw that one first. So 2,2-dimethyl 4-propyl octane. And that's all there is to it. Have any questions or want more examples, let me know, and we'll see you next time.